Emigrate.
Emigrate. Emigrate.
Emigrate.
Emigrate.
Al-Hajj, born in Iraq in 1978. He immigrated to the U.S. in '06. He immigrated to the U.S. in '06. He immigrated to the U.S. in '06 and became a citizen 2 years ago.
Yermak Trigorin, 92-year-old former Russian Cossack. Emigrated to London in 1958. Emigrated to London in 1958. Emigrated to London in 1958. Made his fortune in manufacturing.
This guy, Dmitry Kolenkov, he immigrated to the U.S. in '03. He immigrated to the U.S. in '03. He immigrated to the U.S. in '03 and is rumored to be an enforcer for the Bratva.
In a suburb of San Diego. Her family immigrated from Russia 10 years ago.
Who never gave up on his people. His father had emigrated from Italy.
Fucked. She was 2 weeks late when her parents emigrated to Normandy. I never heard from her again.
That second signature right there. The attending physician, Mikhail Yurevich, emigrated to the U.S. in '08, attained U.S. citizenship 2 years later.
You emigrate from a non-extradition country, probably where your head when it hits the fan.
What are you doing here?
Luke has agreed to handle your move. I helped his relatives emigrate from Guadeloupe many years ago, and in return he assists me with matters which require physical labor.
I think so. The rabbi before me, Maizel, he brought it over with several other artifacts when he immigrated from Moravia.
Accomplishment.
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 That's not true. I'll feel a sense of accomplishment. Of accomplishment. Of accomplishment.
This nightclub is quite an accomplishment. An accomplishment. An accomplishment.
A man of no accomplishment, has become the biggest celebrity in the world, and we keep trying to reach up and pull him down.
Unnerved the Ishveni, sir. A worthy and unique accomplishment, I assure you.
But there's been no decisive battle.
Politician, a name, few accomplishments, but I don't blame you.
Dedication, discipline, and focus. And we are measuring our accomplishments in waves.
News cycle. How else do you think a man who has absolutely no major life accomplishments is beating an American hero by double digits?
I mean, who would have thought that one of my biggest accomplishments would be criminal? Which is actually quite an accomplishment.
That is quite an accomplishment, young lady. Nobody beats him, ever.
Employment.
Employment.
Employment. Employment. Employment.
My colleague's trying to say is...
Where was your last employment? Employment.
But that's Greenberg. It's everything. It's his home address, property records, employment records, phone numbers, family, everything.
You must be Pamela Lowy from Faith Best Charities?
Oh, no, I'm from the Forrester Employment Agency.
News flooding into town. If war does break out, they'll be the only ones gainfully employed. And speaking of employment...
People weren't exposed at home. What if they got dosed at work? Can you do this by their employment addresses?
Adam Donner's employment here has been terminated.
Unknown home address or place of employment for Marcos.
John might have told me about your employment offer from Evil Incorporated.
To do her best. I do find it very hard these days to see how many men are forced to take employment for which they're quite unsuited.
Into any legal issues? No. We use at-will employment contracts across the board.
The watershed bill's anti-drilling. Peter's pro-employment, not anti-drilling. He just wants to bring employment to his people.
Can we all agree that that's a good thing for this country? Universal employment.
Look, I happen to know of an employment opportunity.
Oh, come on, man. You know I don't get down like that.
Tailor.
Tailor.
Tailor. Tailor. Tailor.
Wasn't everything, right?
My father was a tailor. My father was a tailor. My father was a tailor. I like clothes. So what?
I saw the finish line and gave him every good idea I had. Who's this?
He's the new tailor. He's the new tailor. He's the new tailor.
And over here, we have the tailor's shop. Tailor's shop. Tailor's shop. They do really excellent work there.
Is there a tailor here?
You know, look at you and your tailor and your everything's cut right, and mine's it's like a lumpy pumpkin.
Thank you. Now, follow me. Your costumes have arrived from the tailor in Perry.
The Finnish Baron. Opening night of Il Trovatore at the Met. My suit was tailored, my cover was impeccable, but my heart wasn't in it.
I can't handle this. We're getting married in 5 hours. I don't have my perfectly tailored tux.
I grew up in this world. I know how it works. We're attracting serious people with serious money and tailoring an event to them.
Look at that. Approved data, 3 p.m. at the tailor.
They're phrases that have been cherry-picked from a holy book and tailored to fit the lies they've told you.
You think I work for the government? I really must fire my tailor.
Disaster. Disaster.
Disaster.
Disaster.
Disaster.
Oh, it's a disaster. Oh, it's a disaster. Oh, it's a disaster.
So I hear.
This guy is a walking disaster. 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 No wonder they hid him from us.
We really need your help. She's getting married today.
Her dress was ruined.
It's a disaster. It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
He wants Lieberman on the ticket.
Of course he does.
Disaster.
Or historic.
Or historic disaster.
See, I'm working on a whole natural disaster theme for me and you. We're gonna start with the mudslide tonight.
The last file.
Come on, you know you're just managing a disaster here. Due process.
Carried a gun. Pulled the trigger.
Her memoir doesn't mention that.
If the reports are accurate, it's a disaster. It means the whole book's a lie.
Full cooperation.
Who's lying?
Well, you're all pointing fingers and shifting blame, which is typical of a disaster rescue operation.
As I recall, the mechanism was only minimally damaged. Your talent for compounded disaster is truly impressive.
Nice job.
It's a disaster.
What are you talking about? You made her totally lose her shit. That's a win in my book.
It's just a disaster. I'm sorry I brought you into this.
Ah, I see you two have a book open there, which more likely than not portends some sort of catastrophic disaster, which in turn can only mean my date with Rosalie has been put on hold.
I brought up open marriage with Rachel. It was a disaster.
Award. Award.
Award.
Award.
Award.
In 2009, Slumdog Millionaire won the Academy Award for Best Cinematography. It was the first time the award was...
They gave me that one too, the one on the end.
Environmental Consciousness Award. 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 What's that mean? Why you, like, recycle cans and shit?
But I put it in a box in the garage with all my other awards. Yes, awards. Out of courtesy to a sadly awardless you.
It looks ridiculous. Mine is a Distinguished Professional Award given to me by my peers, and yours was given to you on a pier.
Moira, is it happening?
Yes. The humanitarian awards ceremony.
You started. Was there fire? Yes. Did I put it out?
Answer the question.
Yes.
I'm getting an award for it. If they gave awards for starting fires, I'd be getting one of those too.
Are there awards for tree trimming? Because this is award-worthy.
What are you doing here?
I know.
Breaking and entering the sheriff's house? That move will win you an award.
Go ahead. Keep dodging. Unless you just realize you need me alive. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a scholarship to award.
I'd still be here. I come bearing gifts.
Whiskey?
And we won another award. Look, I know our deal. I schmooze the board, I cash out the checks, I pick up the awards. You do most of the work.
You ever been to the White House before?
When I won the National Book Award.
Your request is on your desk, most of them Corrigan related. And GLAAD wants you to be a keynote speaker at their media award ceremony.
Intense.
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 Mission accomplished.
Wow, man. That was intense, intense, intense.
Task completed.
That's bullshit.
Well, he's just a little intense, intense, intense.
Yeah, a little intense. Like a fucking maniac.
You're so intense, intense, intense.
I'm focusing.
Meet someone and have that intense attraction right away.
Yossi, look at me. Look at me.
Don't do intense right now, my man.
I sat in a corner booth.
So he was here with someone?
Definitely. The two of them were having a real intense conversation. Real intense conversation. Real intense conversation.
Oh, this guy was way more intense. Scary. Who is he? I don't know. I didn't want to know. I just did what I had to and I got out of there.
Things are getting a little intense in here.
I don't know, it's intense.
Nauseous. It was this intense pulsing, like my heart was in my head.
The containment module broadcasts some pretty intense encrypted homing signals.
Australia.
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 No, but true story. We met when I was in Australia.
Mr. Locking, I work for your father-in-law, and you're going straight to the VIP room. Welcome to Australia, Australia, Australia.
What's that?
I thought it'd be a laugh. We're in Australia,
Oh, who could survive here? All that sun and beer's got to piss you off eventually.
Learn to live with it.
Expedition in 1860.
Louder.
Today,
More effort!
there are over 50,000 feral camels across Australia.
I thought you were in Australia.
Yeah, well, I thought it best.
Yeah, Alexander.
I would like to take Australia. I know a ton about it, and I have my own didgeridoo.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm sure there are a lot of students here who want Australia. Am I right? So to be fair, this semester, I'm going to let the globe decide what country. We'll start with you, Alexander. You ready? Here we go. What country?
Australia.
What will it be, will it? Djibouti. Look at that, the Horn of Africa. All right, Djibouti.
What?
Who's gonna be next here? Philip Parker. Here we go. Australia.
So, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff? That's Austria, not Australia. Can we switch?
No.
Where did this happen?
Australia.
Australia?
Sanctuary Cove, East Coast.
Facility at Kaina Point, Oahu, and it's too heavily guarded to infiltrate, which is why we came to Australia instead.
I got this in Australia when I was backpacking with these Aborigine spirit guides.
Maybe I will move to Australia. I can live in a yurt.
Mobile.
Mobile. Mobile. Mobile.
Mobile.
Last page is life. How about that?
Way too many variables.
Okay, let's just be ready to get mobile fast. Mobile fast. Mobile fast.
I'm mobile. I'm mobile. I'm mobile. Where is he?
What about the garage? The mobile lab van. The mobile lab van. The mobile lab van.
Why don't you ask your sidekick to bring my mobile phone in here? Please. George, bring this Sleg's mobile in, will you? I know it's you.
Mobile laundry, Danny? Don't think it. Okay, son. Yeah, son.
We're going to make him mobile so he can talk to us from anywhere.
And Riverside. We can be mobile within the hour.
HSI, they take care of those stash houses?
Yeah, whatever you need.
Maddox, the device can be set for a timed detonation or can be remote activated by a mobile transmitter.
I purchased you a commission. You will join the Mobile 34th as their camp physician. It's an honor.
No, it's just a mobile.
A unicorn gave me a vision which led to us ripping Maleficent's child away.
in there. There's people in the hospital.
If you're mobile, keep walking.
Our plan is to turn Molly's 2 into a mobile go-anywhere business that can supply everyone.
Scarce. Scarce. Scarce.
Scarce.
Scarce.
Honey, I gotta make myself scarce. Scarce. Scarce.
A few weeks have passed. Food has been scarce, scarce, scarce. But there are still no signs of other lions.
And it was gonna be the largest bronze statue ever built. But wouldn't you know it, war broke out, and bronze became scarce. Scarce. Scarce.
Scar and his thugs are a growing threat. Food is still scarce in their territory.
And in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
To survive in these waters scarce in nutrients, coral shelters an algae within it, which feeds by day on sunlight.
Friends.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be scarce.
Request/advise that you make yourself scarce for a few days.
A few days.
Did you read it? Good literature's kind of scarce around here.
We read it.
Just give it to us. Smith's down.
NYPD is on the way. Get scarce.
The sky vanished.
I'd make myself scarce too. This ain't no neighborhood you want to be called a snitch.
Handbag. Handbag.
Handbag.
Handbag.
Handbag.
You're beautiful, and how fun is that handbag? Handbag.
I need to go buy a new handbag. Handbag. What's wrong with that one?
Oh boy. A snakeskin handbag. Handbag. Can you magnify that more?
Yeah, maybe,
I'll get my jacket.
Yes, my handbag. Can you
Absolutely.
find my handbag,
Of course.
Thank you.
All she wants is to be at your place. Oh my God, you're an ungrateful bitch. Mommy's gonna turn you into a handbag.
Don't suppose I could interest you in a handbag?
Did he bring anything from the patient room to the treatment room?
A few things, a handbag, flowers, stuffed elephant.
Madison does. She had a dozen credit cards, and she was wearing them out. Hermes handbags, Jimmy Choos. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. You know, you should try it sometime. Instead of hanging out on a street corner waiting to boost somebody's handbag.
Sounds good.
So how is it that you made all your money? I'm guessing it wasn't ladies' handbags. No?
Fame? Ooh, maybe a little rodeo drive.
Well, I can't spend $12,000 on a handbag.
Totally humiliated.
So it wasn't just a handbag. It was symbolic of betrayal. It would only be natural to seek revenge for a handbag.
Chanel.
Oh, I can work it. Along with a 380, I've got my handbag, so watch it.
Whatever.
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 I need privacy.
Because your son?
Yeah.
Like whatever you think you owe Keegan, it's just going to destroy the time that you have left with Will.
Who runs the new office, so I just want to say, whatever happens, I hope you crash and burn.
Faith. That whatever the other's doing, it's for a good reason.
I don't know how it is you found me. But whatever it is you want, I'm not interested, excuse me.
3 pages, typewritten, single space. Devil's in the details of whatever you observe.
I don't know, you call me old-fashioned or whatever, but that's just not something that I would want my wife to perform, okay?
Believe about you.
You believe whatever you want. That's what everyone else does.
I like you here.
Well, I'm on board with whatever you want to do, but you better be at my wedding, woman.
Well, if you let Irene and the kids go, I'll do whatever you want.
I want you to think very carefully about what you're going to say to me next.
Distinctive.
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 Oh, come on. The accent is distinctive, distinctive, distinctive. I produced an album in San Juan.
Exactly. And you're gonna follow in the footsteps of all those great warriors. Every one of them had a distinctive musical theme.
I needed something bold, distinctive, distinctive, distinctive. I think so.
And he drove a very distinctive car. It was a
gold VW Bug.
Note the distinctive shape of the wound, the depth.
No.
His scars. There's a patch of them here. Very distinctive.
Yeah. Dreamy. Okay. What else? Piercings, jewelry, distinctive articles of clothing. Come on.
Oh, and he had a distinctive striped tie. Crimson and navy with gold triangles across the stripes.
And how about his clothes? Do you remember anything distinctive about them?
I'm a distinctive man.
I don't think Mr. Raymond and I are as distinctive as we had hoped.
The bottle.
Bright orange, that's a pretty distinctive color.
It is.
Antoine's description's at all the checkpoints now, but I don't hold out much hope. The distinctive part of the description is his height.
Hollow.
Hollow. Hollow.
Hollow.
Hollow.
When you're in that place, and then you listen to that song and you know you're not in that place anymore, and it makes you feel hollow, hollow, hollow.
This is definitely hollow. Definitely hollow. Definitely hollow.
Looks like sexual assault. We found her clothing down below in the hollow, in the hollow, in the hollow.
Weeks ago, he brought with him an offer of peace.
A hollow offer?
You killed his men.
Ah, for free? Why don't you just hollow her out and live inside of her, you monster?
And I need a cannula. It's like a hollow needle.
So you're telling me that DC's really all about hollow victories and career advancement, Agent Warren?
What a lovely hollow offer.
But I find I cannot ruin the estate or hollow out the title for the sake of Mary, even with a better man than that.
Hollow point. Son of a bitch.
Seen shots like that before.
If we give in now, the public won't credit you with a victory, not even a hollow one. They'll chalk it up as a colossal defeat.
Well, that's on you, Frank.
Optimistic.
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 When conditions are met, I'm optimistic.
Optimistic? Optimistic? Optimistic?
Just hear him out.
What kind of charlatan are you?
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Long-term memory recall is intact, and I'm very optimistic that the rest of your memory is going to improve with time.
Yeah, I feel so optimistic.
I'm pretty optimistic about next weekend, though.
You're mighty optimistic.
Is the chosen one coming to you?
I'm cautiously optimistic about his loyalty.
Mr. Alani doing? He's still in surgery, but they're optimistic we got there just in time.
Good. He's got a family that needs him.
For the bone marrow, procedure is going to be next week, and the doctors are saying good things. They're optimistic.
Well, that's great news then.
Yeah.
Well, that's rather optimistic, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
What lay ahead for them was unclear, but they remained cautiously optimistic that their next guardian would be better than the last.
Basket.
Basket. Basket.
Basket.
Basket.
And look at this, something I learned in prison. I taught one of these guys how to shoot a basket. Which one is he?
Past 5 minutes, I've watched you. I've watched you type pages and let them float into the wastebasket.
Never crumple pages. Always let him float gently into the basket, basket, basket.
Yeah. I hide it in a basket, in a basket, in a basket in the bathroom. Okay? I just spritzed some of this stuff that Kay sent over in the gift basket. Gift basket, gift basket.
Okay, powerhouse. Grab the basket.
I've brought you a present. Mr. Mason's made you a basket full of things. Rolls and cheese and ham, and jams and pickles.
Scarf and cane go in the basket?
What?
Scarf and cane go in the basket.
Send the Stokes basket down the tunnel.
Stokes basket.
You guys okay?
Yeah.
Drop the basket. Drop the basket. Drop the basket.
Use of your time?
If I can get him to turn his people.
It's a lot of eggs to put in one basket.
We only have one basket.
Constitute.
Constitute. Constitute. Constitute.
Constitute.
A little toy that constitutes a choking hazard, which is why the FDA banned those eggs.
I can't tell you how many questions I get on what constitutes the perfect marriage.
According to your contract, the failure of this contraption constitutes fraud, constitutes fraud, constitutes fraud.
For Christians, the fixed point of morality, what constitutes right and wrong, is a straight line that leads directly back to God.
Dear Ms. Lancaster, I cannot answer your questions, at least not in writing, because to do so would constitute a sequel.
Am I allowed to say you're looking incredible?
Technically, no. That would constitute sexual harassment.
Yeah, you're right.
Morning.
It's just soul-crushing in its utter banality, sufficiently asinine as to constitute a valid argument for eugenics.
Short of a court order, he's not going anywhere. And any attempt to take him would constitute tortious interference, and we would sue you and the NYPD into oblivion.
A trial will be held for each of them to determine if they're guilty of any acts that might constitute a violation of the tenets of the faith.
Okay, so the SEC has a lot of really boring rules about what constitutes as an investment for a private business.
The safe side.
We make sure the passage of the amendment constitutes the passage of the bill.
Unemployment doesn't constitute a natural disaster, Mr. President.
File.
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 What do you have for file? For file. For file.
Let's see if we can get her over to Capitol. So I stole all the files. I stole all the Katie files. I just grabbed them and I put them under my arm and I just snuck out.
Let me see that case file. Case file. Case file.
Did you file a report when your flying robots were stolen?
No, I thought they were all destroyed.
Eleanor, on it, will you tell? Eleanor, I'll replace it today. Please don't write it down in my file.
Science. Monsieur Al-Zahrani.
Yeah, I pulled his file. Makes dismal reading.
I've been going through your file.
It's all in my file.
There are 15 years of clinic visits in this file.
I don't want to be a bother.
Sure you want in on this?
Yeah, let's see the file.
Okay. That one goes on the top pile.
Yo, hey.
Hey, I'm glad you're back. I've been going over Snart's file.
Thanks. Hey, yeah, I need to talk to you.
This guy definitely belongs in that file. It's gonna be a pretty big file.
Distinguish.
Distinguish. Distinguish. Distinguish.
Distinguish.
She should be learning to distinguish. She should be learning to distinguish. She should be learning to distinguish whose heart is sincere and who instead tells lies.
Do not be afraid. I can distinguish perfectly between pleasure and pain.
It's the Goonies and it's Citizen Kane. They don't distinguish between high and low. It's wonderful.
Daniel, the German chap, the grounded one. The one who helps you distinguish fact from fiction.
The world of the imagination and the real world blend so that they cannot distinguish the difference.
Such as this one, it is important that you master it.
Like it's important that I study tobacco ash and can distinguish one form of mold from another.
Them have literally brought light to lands that were dark and just as often rained darkness where once there was light. Father doesn't distinguish.
Really? You don't think that's a little derivative?
Yes, but I am hoping to distinguish the ending.
What about my face?
No tattoos, distinguishing marks.
What do you think you're doing?
Variation. You're having trouble distinguishing what's causing the enhanced pathogenesis and what's just background noise.
It's all about distinguishing your product, maximizing your brand awareness.
And it just takes time to distinguish between the real world and the fantasy of a child's world.
Librarian.
Librarian. Librarian. Librarian.
Librarian.
My mom was a librarian.
Was? So I finally took Harvard shopping because
he dresses like a lesbian librarian.
No, because...
Can I help you find anything, sir?
Where is the librarian? Librarian?
I'm not familiar with that title.
You're worse than the other one. No. Where is the librarian?
You're so crazy, Frank. You don't mind if I borrow Madam Librarian for a moment? I want to introduce her to some elite donors.
I got it. Here it is, the new Martha Stewart living. I ran so fast, the librarian said, stop running in the library. And I almost said, this is different, I'm stealing.
I don't get it. This is a little old retired librarian. What could possibly be in her safe deposit box that would be worth doing all this?
Hurry at that hour?
It's open 24/7 during finals. You can ask the librarian and the 10 other people who were studying there.
This is a football game in the yard? You made a great catch?
No, that didn't happen. But the librarian told me one day I'll be a great catch.
You, me, even the librarian here.
She loves mystery, don't you, honey?
Our librarian reads a chapter every day after dinner. Actually, we're just finishing Death on the Nile, so if you know who done it, keep it to yourselves.
This is perfect. Where did you get this? Used to do the sexy librarian thing, glasses, hair bun, the whole bit.
The best? I don't know, maybe a professor or, I know, a librarian maybe?
Why, yes.
Substance.
Substance. Substance.
Substance.
Substance.
Despite his enlarged pupils and excessive saliva suggest a foreign substance. Foreign substance. Foreign substance.
No, wait. One arrested in 98, 3 months before Kim was killed, for possession of a controlled substance. Controlled substance. Controlled substance.
Only women of substance, only women of substance, only women of substance have worn these gems. They've been waiting, Catherine.
Docket ending 11056, People versus Theodore and Queen. Possession of a controlled substance, driving under the influence of a controlled substance.
You're under arrest for possession of a controlled substance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
Emits some sort of substance. I'm not sure what it is, like a white flame.
Now, once Creel touches a substance, he can absorb it and somehow consciously transform the molecules of his body into that substance. He wouldn't tell us how.
I haven't been able to decipher anything of substance from the tattoos.
Be how he sedated her. I guess he didn't use a big enough dose. Morphine is a Schedule 1 controlled substance.
Right, which means every dose is traceable. Where I come from, spam is a controlled substance. Eat up. Here you go.
I did find something else for you. I recovered a substance from the back of our Vic's shirt sleeve. Likely transferred from the perp to our victim during the struggle.
But if I feel like I'm going to slip on a banana peel, the union has an employee assistance program for substance abuse.
As follows: do not get rearrested and complete a substance abuse program.
Upset.
Upset. Upset. Upset. Upset.
Why are you so upset? So upset? So upset?
Why did you have to say something to Oliver about the job?
You were supposed to talk.
I know you're upset. I know you're upset. I know you're upset. You shouldn't make a decision like this right now. Give it some time.
Did you have anything to do with that?
Yes, I killed him.
Oh, God.
You're upset? You're upset? You're upset?
I'm upset you just said you killed Louis Prothero.
I want to go home.
You upset?
I don't like it here.
How upset were you when you woke up in the ER? You were still alive and a failure.
Didn't find out? You could have at least told me, so I wouldn't have coached him on how to prove his worthiness to you.
I know you're upset with me because I didn't choose to date your best friend.
Sorry if I upset you.
Can I be frank? Dr. Sicker, what are you doing here?
Mr. Young, I didn't want to upset you by telling you over the phone.
What is it?
Zach is missing from Silvercrest.
The last thing I want to do is upset you.
Well, then you should consider this visit doubly disappointing.
The others are getting upset. They want to know what's going on inside the tent.
It'll be a nice distraction for Kev. He's driving me crazy.
He's still upset?
It's not like Ethel was our real kid. She was our job.
I didn't come inside. Liv didn't want me inside because, you know, didn't want to upset you.
Why would I be upset? She hopped the bus before I could catch her.
She's upset. She'll just go home.
Wonder why.
What, me yelling at her? You think that's the most traumatic thing that's happened to her in the last 18 hours?
Prevail.
Prevail.
Prevail. Prevail.
Prevail.
We will come through this together, and we will prevail. Prevail. Prevail.
In the end, right will prevail over wrong. Right will prevail over wrong. Right will prevail over wrong.
You see, we have to prevail, to prevail, to prevail. And do you think me an impediment to that end?
You'll live happily ever after with a friendly guardian, spending your time inventing things and reading books and sharpening your little monkey teeth, and bravery and nobility will prevail at last, and this wicked world will slowly but surely become a place of cheerful harmony.
I had rather not. I do not wish to prevail upon your time more than is necessary.
And I prevail upon you, sir, to take a seat.
Words will prevail with a listener, not swords.
Upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Being on death row, he's responsible. Let justice prevail.
If my wretched brother should somehow prevail, these hens will return to their cocks.
Unbelieving. He's got to remain strong if he's to prevail, and you must remain strong for him.
Every single day that you're here.
You don't have the strength, the fanatical will to prevail against us.
Latest engagement. I am certain we will prevail over the Ashveni.
Don't need you to tell me that.
Dubious.
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 Did you do that?
I revived a dubious talent from my misspent youth.
If you want to assign blame, you might look to your dubious parenting skills.
Sorcery. I knew there was something dubious going on here.
That's a somewhat dubious endorsement.
I agree, Mr. Barr.
In fact, I'm dubious about the other two altogether, especially the reptilians.
Prices of up to $2,000 being asked by scalpers for seats. A more than dubious record.
Leaving Pat Town an hour and a half before the start of what will be...
I was eaten. I'm a little dubious about only you knowing the exit code. It's quite coincidental.
Baby. What are you doing? You talking to yourself?
Yo, Johnny, you coming out tonight?
That's dubious.
Dubious distinction. 3XK, the triple killer, so named because he kills his victims in groups of 3, blondes.
But we know for a fact that in emergencies, the executive will contemplate actions that do not have clear legislative authority and might be constitutionally dubious.
Ahead.
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 Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's your copy.
I gotta go.
Fine. Choose your kid over me.
Every time, but you're ahead of my brother-in-law. You're ahead of my brother-in-law. You're ahead of my brother-in-law.
So why'd she give it back? Couldn't solve it herself? Or she took something out of it, or she knows something we don't. She could be a step ahead of us, ahead of us, ahead of us, yeah?
Oh, you want a contest?
Yeah, actually, I'm done. Me too.
Wait, what?
You're quitting?
While I'm ahead.
But you're not ahead. It's a tie.
So how are you ahead of the police on this?
They're not looking.
Hey, Kalinda, what's up?
It's not a leak.
What do you mean? What is it?
White Canning is ahead of us. He put Spectre Pro on Alicia's laptop.
Go ahead, detective, take him in.
This is illegal. Now, who is your boss?
The people of Illinois.
How about Mr. Gold?
Yes. Part of our firm is Mr. Gold's crisis management. Can she ask me a question as to that? Sure. Go ahead. Take your time. Here it is.
Go ahead.
Hey, Mom.
Mrs. Florick, how are you?
I'm good. How are we doing in here?
We were just watching the results. Dad hasn't won yet. They say they won't have the results until tomorrow.
Yeah, but he's ahead. Maddie's down by 5%.
Mm-hmm.